Hi, dear friends. Hope you are doing well. My name is Forrest Pan. I'm a web and mobile developer based in New York City. Welcome to my video series on React and React Native Code Share. Today, we continue our project authorization for React and React Native. And this is video 1.3. We are going to build the login page so that we can log in backend on the web page. And we have our agenda as well. And we will render the sign-in page. We will design login form, and we will log in via this sign-in page. But first and foremost, we need to start this web project by using React. So this is what we're going to do. So under our Auth RRN folder, we're going to make sure the version we're using. So we probably need to nvm use okay, so this is good. We're going to use the command npx create react app. The project name is web under auth underscore rrn. So we're gonna start to create this React project. This is gonna take 10, 15, 20 minutes. So I'm going to pause the video for now. I'll see you soon. Okay, now we can see the npx create react app command is successful. Now we start to work on this project. So we can see whether launching of the project is successful by npm start. Oh, we actually need to go to cd this folder, and then we can npm start. While we're starting this project, we know that we are going to have a few dependencies. We know for this web application, we're going to use Axios, Bootstrap, and React Route DOM. Okay, so now we can let it install, but actually, I'm gonna change React Router DOM. Before we do this, make sure the node version. So nvm use 10 version. Now we can install Axios, Bootstrap, and React Router DOM. Okay, while it's in npm installing, we can check the launching of the project is successful. Now we can open our Sublime and start working on this web project. Okay, so on this web project, this is pretty much the default fold structure, but we need to do our own things in here. We need to have a few new folders. Under the new folders, we'll have a few new files. So we're going to have mkdir src components. We also need nav. We also need styles. And under src components, we're going to have sign in, actually, and under nav, we're going to have app.js. And under styles, we're going to have form. Okay, so let's start from index.js. We know in here, we no longer import from app.js as a root. We need to have something like, we're going to nav app. And we also need to import node modules bootstrap dist css bootstrap.css. And we also need to import a browser router, from React router DOM. And we will use this browser router to wrap this app. And the next, we need to actually go to our package.json. We need to add a proxy so that we have access to the backend server. Proxy HTTP localhost. So our localhost. And our own port, I want to define it as 3080. Okay, so in our browser here, we probably need to close this one. Let's see what happened. Oh, so it's still installing the dependencies. It may still take some time, but we don't need to worry about that at this time. So we probably don't need Bootstrap at this point. We can have it later. So next, we're actually going to work in the nav folder app.js. So we are going to say import React from React. And then we are going to have, let's say we're going to do the navigation. We will have the nav file. So we're going to say import the sign in from components, sign in. Sign in, sign in. Then we're going to import route from React router DOM. So we're going to say function app export default app. In here, we're simply going to have a return. We're going to say div, closing div, we're going to say route, path equals to slash sign in exact component equals to sign in. So the navigation folder for the app part is ready. So now we're working the sign in component. So like we normally do in React from React component from React. So we're also going to have the so we're going to say class sign in extends components export default sign in, and in here we're going to say render return h3 I am login component. Okay, let's see if we can compile. Okay, so in the index.js, so this should be Let's see if this can compile. Is it finished? Okay, so npm store finished. Okay. Compile is successful. Let's see, because we're now going to have HTTP localhost 18, right? $3,000. So that's because we need to redo this. We can close this one. So basically, what we are doing now is the step 1 to render sign-in page. So the server is still compiling. And currently we're using port 1318. We don't have anything because in our nav app, we don't define the root. We only have a /sign-in. So we have to say sign in to see our sign-in page, which means this works. And this page can render, but it doesn't do anything. We need to make it a UI and enable it to log in user, like what we did in the last video by using Postman. So now we start to the second step for design a login form for this sign-in page. So what we need to do is to go back to our project, enable the bootstrap, and then in the sign in here, we need to import our style in this form for our UI. So it's going to be styles form. So in this style form file, we're going to do the styling. So it will be import React from React, and then we need to const form equals to props function export default form, and with this form we just need to return, and we're going to have a bunch of div equals to, so it will be the basics. One, two, three. Okay, so these are the divs, and we need to put class names. We say this is a container, and the next one container MT5, and the next one actually has an ID. We call it login role, and class name is role justify constant center align items center, and the next one ID will be login a column, and column, and the class name should be column empty 6 py3, and last but not least ID equals to login box. Class name will be empty 12, and under this there will be a form, lowercase. But under the form, we still have something to do. I'm going to say, oh, oops, props dot children, and under the form, I'm going to say ID equals to login form, and class name equals to form, and on submit equals to props submit. And this is about our styling for this form, and this will be imported to our sign-in page in here. And so basically in here we no longer need, we probably still need it, but this is going to be wrapped by the form we just imported at the beginning. So basically this we still want to keep, but it will be under the form. So instead of say login component, this is just going to be a login in here. And for this to work, we're going to have the build a constructor props super props, and under this we'll have this state equals to username will be blank, password will be blank as well. Under here we will have this on change username equals to this on change username dot bind this, and we'll have a few more of this for password and login. So instead of username, we're going to say password. And say password. Here, instead of saying login, login. Then we are going to define all these methods. For example, we say on change username event. So we're going to say this set state user name event. We're going to say event target value, and we will do the same thing for the other one. I'm going to call it on change password. This will be password instead of username. And last but not least, we need to do our login. So in our login, what we need to do is to first have a if statement. If this state user name and this state password, then what we are going to do, simply console log JSON stringify this state, and then we're going to render the UI for us to be able to use the form to key in username and password, and then to console log. So within this form, under the login here, first we need to have class name here. I'm probably going to say text center text info, and under here we're going to have a div /div. So under this div, we know this is a class name from group, and below it we have a label first. And the label is going to say user name, and we're going to have HTML4 username, and class name will be control label, and below it we'll have input component. So under this input, we're going to have class name equals to from control, and placeholder is going to apparently username, and on change will be this on change user name, and type is going to be text, and ID, very important, is user name. This is the div for username. We'll have the same thing for password. So in here, instead of username, I'm going to say password. Instead of say username, we will have password. Username, password. Type will be password because we don't want it to be reviewed, and ID will be password. And under the two boxes, we're going to have another div, and we will place the button, the submit button here. So it's going to be div class name will be flex justify content between align items and we'll have a button, and the button should say submit, and the type here should be button, and then we will have on click equals to this login class name will be button info button empty. And we will have a basic UI for the sign-in page. If it works, yes, we should have this. So basically, what we want to do is want to make sure when we key in username and password, it should be able to console log here. Say if we want to log in a user, John Snow, put password. If we submit, it should console log. By the way, I don't see it here. So let's see what we're going to do is button on-click this login class name, button info button empty, deflex justify content between align items and unchange this. So instead of username, we should have password here. Okay, Let's see. Yes, so it console logs username and password, which meaning we are finished the second step, design the login form. We also enable console log, the key in username and password information. Uh, the only thing left to do is to log in, to enable the sign-in page to log in to the backend. So what we are going to do is going to have Axios to be imported, Axios from Axios. And in here, we are going to actually implement the code that enable us to register at the backend. So in here, we are going to say Axios. We are going to post and then and catch. So in the post, we need the endpoint, which is user login, as we defined in the previous video. Under routes user, there is a login for us to use to log in here. And in here, we're going to say in here, we're going to say user this state username, password this state password. And then if we have response from backend, what we want to do is console log the response, and we can say logged in plus response data. Otherwise, we'll catch error. We're going to console log error. And then if else, we're going to do is alert. Please log in. I would say enter valid details. So this will send a post request to the backend based on our proxy localhost 133017, which is in here, and to do the registration work at the backend. Let's see how this works. Okay, so we're going to, if it compiles, then that's a good sign. We're going to say signing. And we know at the backend we already have a user in the previous video registered as username Jon Snow, password John, and we submit. Boom, it works. It responded with the token that's actually in the backend, which also says post user login to a 1, which is a successful. So we are going to congratulate ourselves for successfully finish video 1.3 login on web of project Auth _RRN. We launched the web project, we design and render the login form, and we actually use the login form to sign in. And this is a very fun video. I hope you guys enjoy watching it. And next video, we're going to have video 1.4 login on a mobile front end by using React Native. It will be exciting and it will have a lot of code sharing. I look forward to it. And thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.